GPT-4, a large multimodal language model from OpenAI that can generate text from both textual and visual input, has finally been made accessible. And these are the benefits and drawbacks of the AI that alarmed Google and other businesses. Currently, GPT-4 is not free. The GPT-4 powered ChatGPT Premium Edition costs $20 a month for users to utilize. There is a consumption limit that changes dynamically. Compared to earlier GPT models, GPT-4 can perform much more difficult tasks. The model performs at a human level on a variety of academic and professional criteria, including the Uniform Bar exam. It was created to increase scalability and alignment for sizable models of its sort. Secretive improvement. As the technical report states, given both the competitive landscape and the safety implications of large-scale models like GPT-4, this report contains no further details about the architecture, including model size, hardware, training compute, dataset construction, training method, or similar. That is, relatively little information regarding the GPT-4's technological requirements have been made available by OpenAI. It's unknown what sort of data was used for training the system, how big the model is, how much energy it uses, what kind of hardware it works on, or how it was made. Given in the GPT-4 technical paper, OpenAI said that they will withhold this information due to safety concerns and the intense market competition. GPT-4 was trained using both freely accessible data and data that was obtained under a license from a third party, as was acknowledged by OpenAI. ASIF examinations. We tested GPT-4 on a diverse set of benchmarks, including simulating exams that were originally designed for humans, says the technical report. On more difficult tests, such as the Uniform Bar 90%, LSAT 88%, MathSat 89%, and GRE Quantitative Exam 80%, GPT-4 performed better. The outcomes are substantially better. These results closely match human-derived data. Models were getting progressively less effective at predicting the outcomes as they became broader, and then shockingly, they confessed that it was difficult to forecast. One of these tasks being the hindsight neglect task, a task which simply examines if a model is susceptible to hindsight bias, or the fact that occasionally there is a discrepancy between how wise a decision is and the way it actually turns out. When compared to earlier models, GPT-4 performs far better. Those earlier models were susceptible to the effects of hindsight, blaming decisions for failure rather than acknowledging that the predicted value could be favorable. Enhanced capabilities. The new model, according to OpenAI, is also capable of understanding and producing lengthier chunks of text, more than 25,000 words at once. Previous models were employed for long-term applications as well, but they frequently lost their focus. Additionally, the business highlights the new model's creativity, which is defined as its capacity to create various forms of artistic content in particular aesthetics. In a demonstration comparing how GPT 3.5 and GPT-4 tried to translate Jorge Luis Borges's writing in English into another language, it was found that the more recent model made a more accurate attempt. Upon this demonstration, Annette V, an associate professor of English at the University of Pittsburgh, quoted that an undergraduate may not understand why it's better, but I'm an English professor. If you understand it from your own knowledge domain, and it's impressive in your own knowledge domain, then that's impressive. Multimodal. The fact that GPT-4 is multimodal, or capable of working with both text and images, may be the most significant change. A technology that can analyze and explain photos could be extremely useful for individuals who are vision impaired. Image analysis using GPT-4 goes beyond merely describing the image. In this regard, the Be My Eyes mobile application recently incorporated GPT-4 into a virtual volunteer that, according to a statement on OpenAI's website, can generate the same level of context and understanding as a human volunteer. This app aids those with low or no vision to interpret their surroundings by helping them describe the objects around them. In the same demonstration as mentioned above, we saw a representative of OpenAI draw a picture of a straightforward web page and feed it into GPT-4. The model was then instructed to write the necessary code to create such a website, which it successfully achieved. It looked basically like what the image is. It was very, very simple, but it worked pretty well. Jonathan May, a research associate professor at the University of Southern California, claims that it functioned fairly well. So that was cool. May has also put the model's inventiveness to the test. He tried the amusing task of asking it to produce a backronym, an acronym made by working backward from the shorter version. In this instance, May requested a name for his lab that spelt out cute lab name and appropriately described his area of study. GPT 3.5 was unable to produce a suitable label, while GPT-4 did. It produced the phrase computational understanding and transformation of expressive language analysis, bridging NLP, artificial intelligence and machine education, according to the speaker. Machine education is not very good. The word intelligence adds an extra letter, but honestly, I've seen way worse. Better than GPT 3.5. Certain capabilities remain hard to predict. For example, the inverse scaling prize proposed several tasks for which model performance decreases as a function of scale. Similarly to a recent result by Wei et al., we find that GPT-4 reverses this trend as shown on one of the tasks called hindsight neglect. The new program excels its predecessors in activities that call for reasoning and problem solving, irrespective of its multimodal capacity. Both the GPT 3.5 and GPT-4, according to OpenAI, have been put through a number of human-designed tests, including as a mock lawyer's bar exam, the SAT and advanced placement examinations for high school students, the GRE for college grads, and even a few sommelier exams. While consistently outperforming its predecessor, GPT-4 scored at or above human levels on several of these benchmarks, despite the fact that it struggled on tests involving English language and literature. However, its broad problem-solving capabilities might be used for a variety of real-world tasks like maintaining a complicated schedule, locating problems in a block of code, elucidating grammatical nuances to language learners, and locating security flaws. Limited abilities. In another test, the model demonstrated its creative boundaries. May instructed the model to compose a particular type of sonnet. He asked for a Petrarch-style sonnet, but the model, unfamiliar with the poetic structure, defaulted to Shakespeare's sonnet format. Nevertheless, this technology is not meant to replace individuals who are performing the activity, rather it simply is meant to amplify their efforts. Of course, resolving this specific problem would be rather easy. Simply put, GPT-4 needs to acquire another literary style. In reality, when humans intentionally cause a model to fail in this way, the program really benefits since it can take everything that unauthorized testers input into the system and learn from it. GPT-4 was taught on vast swaths of data, much like its less fluent predecessors, and this training was subsequently improved by human testers. However, OpenAI has been coy about exactly how it improved GPT-4 over GPT 3.5, the model that drives the company's well-liked ChatGPT chatbot. The new model's release was accompanied by an article that states, given both the competitive landscape and the safety implications of large-scale models like GPT-4, this report contains no further details about the architecture, including model size, hardware, training compute, dataset construction, training method, or similar. With GPT-4 competing against tools like Google's Bard and Meta's Llama, OpenAI's lack of openness is a reflection of this newly competitive generative AI ecosystem. However, the article goes on to say that the business intends to eventually share these specifics with other parties who can advise us on how to weigh the competitive and safety considerations against the scientific value of further transparency. AI technology comes with tremendous benefits, along with serious risks of misuse, codes the OpenAI platform. These security precautions are crucial because smarter chatbots have the potential to harm people by operating without safeguards, sending threatening messages, or spreading false information. In an attempt to prevent these situations, OpenAI has imposed restrictions regarding what its GPT models can say, but tenacious testers have discovered ways to get around them. Before the public release of GPT-4, scientist and author Gary Marcus stated, "These things are like bulls in a china shop. They're powerful, but they're reckless. I don't think version 4 is going to change that. Because it mimics human reasoning so well through language, we believe that, but underneath the hood, it's not reasoning in any similar way to the way that humans do." As V warns, these bots continue to grow better at tricking people into thinking there is a sentient agent hidden behind the computer screen as they become more human-like. Part of my advice is, let's temper our initial enthusiasm by realizing we have seen this movie before. It's always easy to make a demo of something, making it into a real product is hard. And if it still has these problems around hallucination, not really understanding the physical world, the medical world, etc., that's still going to limit its utility somewhat. And it's still going to mean you have to pay careful attention to how it's used and what it's used for. Based on Professor Marcus's conclusion, the GPT-4 becomes a platform that has to be handled with utmost care. What do you think about the emerging GPT-4 and its advancements and limitations?